Whoa, 2 RWBY videos in a week. This is like some old school hey stuff right here. Really though. Okay, so we're about to watch a little video from this convention, Level Up Expo, currently ongoing. And Barbara and Arryn answered a question. It's recorded. We're going to talk about their answer. It's mostly Barbara's answer though. So we'll talk about that and a few other RWBY things that are related to it in this video. But first, let me tell you about Level Up Expo. So here it is, Level Up Expo, Video Games, Anime, Technology, Comics, Las Vegas Convention Center, April 26th through the 28th, 2019. So that's where it is, that's when it is. Guest list, we'll look through this very quickly. We got Lindsay Jones, Arryn, Kara, we got Barbara. I'm only gonna do the first names now. So we got all of Team RWBY there, and then interesting, you got Eric Vale, Chris Sabat, Sunny Straight. Sunny Straight's a good dude. And all right, that's all we're gonna look at. Just wanna look at the VAs. Let's move on now to the little clip. Actually, before we do that though, let me clear up one thing really quick. So I made that video a few days ago criticizing a tweet Barbara made, and I was very respectful and nice in doing so, and I provided data backing my statements up, saying why this is factually most likely going to hurt the goodwill of the fan base, explained why in a very respectful way. Well, some people got outraged about me making that tweet, and they now say I'm part of the RWBY hate-dem. I'm not part of the RWBY hate-dem. The RWBY hate-dem hates me. I made that video a year and a half ago criticizing the criticism that RWBY was getting at the time because it felt mostly like it was hate or trolling and not actual criticism. Ever since I made that video, the hate-dem has hated me and gone after me. Like, the hate-dem went to a Goblin Slayer video I made just to shit on it, dude. So that's an example. Like, they literally went out of their way to go to a video that's not even related to RWBY and dislike bomb it and leave like paragraphs of ranting about me talking about their criticism. So no, I'm not in the hate-dem, and I don't get along with the hate-dem. All right, thanks for hearing me out, and thank you for your patience. Here is the clip. I'm going to play it in just a moment, but let me read the caption here. It gives a little bit of a backstory with the question asked to Barbara and then also to Arryn. And I also want to say, I somewhat agree with Barbara. I somewhat disagree with her. I'll explain why after you watch the clip. So here's the text. The question was, I guess, someone asked Barbara a question in this video. The question was, what kind of opinion going on in the fandom do you disagree with? Now, I have to admit, I wish that part of the video had the question in it, because now I have to assume that this person's not lying in their tweet. Like, that's actually the question, and I'm going to assume that they're telling the truth because, well, it does fit the answer. So I will roll with that, but I wish they had that part recorded as well. I just like transparency a lot, and that could have been more transparent, but oh well. So here's the clip. We're going to watch it fully one time, then we're going to watch it again with pausing so I can comment on what is being said and what I agree with or disagree with. Oh, and let me give you a quick warning as well. Whoever recorded this actually flips the camera completely horizontal, so it looks really weird, but just know it's more important to listen than it is to see what's going on. So I warned you in advance. It's gonna go like horizontal. It's gonna go crazy in a second, but let's get started. Here we go.
Different way, and someone has an idea of where they want it to go and it doesn't match up necessarily with that, and then maybe gets upset with us or the writers of the show, and it's hard to address because we want everyone to enjoy the show and to be able to see themselves in these characters, but it's going a certain way based off what the story is taking it. So yeah, nothing bothers me too much unless it becomes really defensive or mean or aggressive.
They can't just enjoy the ride a little bit.
Exactly, and like there's a difference between criticism and hate, and that's something kind of we have to balance the line of a little bit.
Fans transfer into the hate zone really easily.
Very easily, yes.
I know that there's some people that ship Blake with Adam, and I think that's really gross. That just feels wildly inappropriate because Adam is an incredibly emotionally manipulative and abusive person, and that just doesn't seem like a healthy thing.
No, and a person that's been that way forever, according to you. So yeah, unredeemable.
Yeah,
this sounds like a bad idea.
I other than that,
So that's the end of the clip, guys. All right, now let's dial it back one more time, pausing it, commentating on it, criticizing it if need be. Let's take a look.
Different way, and someone has an idea of where they want it to go and it doesn't match up necessarily with that, and then maybe gets upset with us or the writers of the show, and it's hard to address because we want everyone to enjoy the show and to be.
You don't need to address everything, Barbara. This is, you know, one of the things I had to say about the floof response. You didn't need to reply. None of the other people that got tagged, as far as I saw, replied, or replied before you did at least. So that's one thing, you know, you need to pick your battles wisely. Know when to reply and when not to reply. You don't need to reply to all the criticism. And to be fair, I do think floof was slightly out of line to go tagging a bunch of VAs, but it was in the end just a meme, and you shouldn't be getting offended by a meme. And if you are getting offended by it, you definitely shouldn't be responding to it. That's just my advice. You don't have to listen to it.
Be able to see themselves in these characters, but it's going a certain way based off what the story is taking it.
Although I will say I do agree with her somewhat here. Like, I can see how it would be annoying for people to rather it would be annoying to receive like criticism and hate because the story isn't going the way a specific person wants to go. It's their story to tell, not necessarily yours as a viewer. So yeah, you shouldn't be trying to dictate the way the story is told. Now, by all means, don't get me wrong. If you're a viewer and you have criticism with the show, I think criticism is one of the most important things a company can receive because it lets them fix it. And if you fix a problem that customers had, you're going to get very loyal customers because it shows them that you care. So it's very important to accept criticism and to take it and listen to it when applicable and viable. So I agree with her somewhat here, but at the same time, I don't fully agree.
So yeah, nothing bothers me too much unless it becomes really defensive or mean or aggressive.
They can't just enjoy the ride a little bit.
Exactly, and like there's.
So nothing bothers her too much unless it becomes mean or aggressive. The problem is mean and aggressive can be defined differently person to person. That's an opinion. So, you know, this is all her opinion, of course. So that's fine. That's fine. But it falls back in what I said. If you're getting offended by something or you feel something is aggressive, just don't reply to it on Twitter. Just don't reply to it. Just don't.
A difference between criticism and hate, and that's something kind of we have to balance the line of a little.
But of course, I do agree with her somewhat as well. I mean, like I said in the beginning of this video, even a year and a half ago, I made a video criticizing the criticism because it felt more like trolling and hate. So I can agree with her on that, you know? Like, there is a difference between providing good criticism or even just criticism and purely hating on the show or trolling the people behind the show. There is definitely a difference. I agree with her on that one.
A little bit. Fans transfer into the hate zone really easily.
Very easily, yeah.
That one I don't necessarily agree with. So they both say, I don't know who the other lady is, but they, you know, she says fans transfer into the hate zone very easily, and Barbara says very easily. Don't think that's a very fair statement. That's a big generalization. Sure, some fans might be kind of flip-floppy. They might hate it, they might like it one day, or they might love the show and easily, you know, something set them off and then they really hate the show. For example, extreme example, maybe if they X Neo off, I would suddenly hate the show. To be honest, I don't think I would. I'd be very disappointed, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know, actually, but that's an example of something that might, like, set me over. So I don't necessarily think it's fair to say that fans are all, like what did they say again? Let's get the exact quote.
Fans transfer into the hate zone really easily.
Fans transfer into the hate zone very easily. That, I don't agree with. I don't agree with. Like I said, too broad of a generalization. And also, as I already kind of implied with the statement that Barb said earlier about, you know, mean and aggressive things, that's something that can be defined differently person to person. So just because a fan might disagree with something doesn't mean you should say that they're now in the hate zone. Kind of messed up, actually really messed up. It's just like what's happened to me already. I made one video criticizing a tweet, very respectful, provided data backing up what I was saying, so it wasn't just hot air, and suddenly some people label me in the hate-dom. And that is beyond messed up because I have dedicated almost 3 years to making content on this show. All the content has been like good-natured, like nice theories, reviews, reactions, all that sort of stuff. Even defended the show. I've made videos defending RWBY. I've made, not just RWBY the show, like RWBY Rose. I've made videos defending her and people called her a Mary Sue. I've made videos defending RWBY against the critics. I've made videos defending Volume 4. You can look this all up. So it's not fair to just be labeled hate-dom for one very fair critique. So I don't necessarily want to say I agree with what's being said here because it can be defined so loosely, and it's not really fair to label a fan as a hater just because they might disagree with something. And they define this so loosely that that might be the case in some scenarios.
Very easily, yes.
I know that there's some people that ship Blake with Adam, and I think that's really gross. That just feels wildly inappropriate because Adam is an incredibly emotionally manipulative and abusive person, and that just doesn't seem like a healthy thing.
I mean, Adam definitely messed up. I feel a little bit of sympathy for him, for sure. You know, he had a hard life, I'm sure. Not a fun life. Feel bad for him in some ways there. But he didn't really, you know, he was dealt a hand and he played it a certain way. And that's on him. But at the same time, I do think probably Adam and Blake had a decent relationship, maybe for a little bit. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know, guys. These, you know, they might have privileged information that we don't have. I don't know. Now, I don't ship Blake with Adam currently, of course, and I haven't. I don't think I've ever really shipped them together, but I can assume that they probably had some good moments here and there, you know, for a little while. Hopefully, at least. And I also, you know, I will say, you're talking about being emotionally manipulative. I mean, Yang was kind of emotionally manipulative to Blake in that she was trying to make Blake feel responsible and guilty for leaving her in volume 3 at the end of in volume 3, when Blake had her own personal matters to deal with. Like, she couldn't spend weeks or months with Yang as she recovers. She had to get back to her family, like, explain what actually went down there. So she had her own matters. It's not fair for Yang to hate on Blake because of that, in my opinion. I thought that was kind of funny. Now, I'm not, just for the record, I'm not saying Yang is nearly as emotionally manipulative as Adam. It's not even close. But I really, really dislike how Yang handled the situation and, like, tried to blame Blake for, like, running away or something. Like, dude, Blake had her own stuff to handle, her own personal life, her family, reorganize the white thing and all that, take it back, and take it out of Adam's hands and all that jazz. So that's just my opinion.
Person that's been that way forever, according to you. So yeah, unredeemable. Yeah.
And like I said, privileged information, right? So allegedly, Arryn admitted to, like, these people, I guess, and I'm just saying these people because I don't know all their names, said that it's been that way forever. So if that's true, I mean, you know, I'll accept that. But as far as I know, it's not canon yet, and this is, like, privileged information, so I'm not sure how to take that.
Yeah,
This sounds like a bad idea.
Other than that.
So basically, I agree with some things, I disagree with some things, but hopefully I've been respectful in explaining why. And at the end of the day, guys, like I said in the previous video I made on RWBY, I just want to see the show succeed. I want to see Rooster Teeth succeed. And I know the show's struggling, and I think, well, let me put it this way. I think the show's struggling, and I think Rooster Teeth is struggling, and I really hope they can turn things around for the best. The last thing I want to mention, because it's related to this tweet, the person who tweeted this says, also, I think this kind of low-key confirms Bumblebee. What in this clip confirms Bumblebee? The fact that Arryn and Barbara don't like Blake being shipped with Adam? How does that confirm Bumblebee? I'm a Bumblebee shipper. I've been shipping it for years, as I already proved in a previous video. And you can see it if you go look through my channel as well. Like, I'm not talking about that video specifically, but you can see that I've made videos talking about how I ship Bumblebee. It's on my channel. There's proof there. But even still, I don't see how this clip did anything to confirm Bumblebee. And when people say stuff like that, that's what drives people away from the ship. Because you have, like, it's at this point, it almost feels like propaganda even. Like, we get it. It can be a good ship. It has potential, right? It has potential. But when it's being shoved in your face all the time on social media and things like this where people are just reaching and whatnot, it just turns people off of the ship. And it's like that for a number of things. When you try to make things feel, I'm not going to say the word, you might know the word I was going to say. It's been a pretty popular term for shipping discussions, particularly Bumblebee discussions. When you have that being the case, like I said, it turns people off the ship. With that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you enjoyed. I know it was kind of a brief video, or at least, like, focused on one thing specifically. Not that that's a bad thing, but I had originally planned on taking this video a few different angles. But you know what that means? It means I'll be making a few other RWBY videos instead with the topics I plan on covering in this one, because this one's getting a bit long. So I hope you enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you're not. If you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, because then your subscription will actually work properly. Hopefully. Even then, it might not always. So that's a good reason to join the Discord. Notifications in there do work. Consider joining. Almost 3,000 members. You can help us get there. And if you'd like to help support this channel more directly as well, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon. Link in the description. And I'll see you next time.
Man, that's my plan of attack. Just let me in and I'ma rap the plaques. And I ain't about to win them back to back. I'm about to win them like it's back to back to back to back to back till I stop rapping.